All advice given is for general information purposes. All legal cases are different, and you should seek the advice of your own attorney before acting or making decisions. No attorney-client privilege applies to communications on this show, and no attorney-client relationship is created by calling or writing in. Attorney Rominger practices only in Pennsylvania and maintains his primary office in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Hey, good afternoon. Carl Rominger here. 540-0580 is the talk line number. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Busy week, lots of things going on, as you know. If you want to get the legal question answered here on the air, however, you go 540-0580, call in. Of course, throughout the week, you want to find me, go to romingerlaw.com. And I posted a letter I received on Facebook. I was opening the mail yesterday afternoon, and I got this letter that says, Dear Carl, first Sandusky, now this child molester in Sharmanstown. And it goes on from there. You can read the whole thing, but basically says, and I'm just chuckling a little bit, you seek out high-profile cases of these monsters solely for more media exposure and self-aggrandizement. Well, and it's signed from all of society. And so apparently all of society got together and wrote me this letter, although the grammar suggests that maybe some of the English teachers in society did not make the meeting. Nonetheless, calls me scum of the earth, says I have a fat face, and my parents are probably terribly embarrassed to admit that I'm their son. Signed all of society. So go to Facebook. You can find it on my page. Read it. It's kind of a fun read. Now, here's the amazing part, right? I get this letter, and I'll say two things. First of all, neither of those cases reference the letter did I seek out. I was sought out in both of those. So that's wrong there. But actually, why I can laugh off a letter like this, and so you guys understand this, I was in court earlier this week. A 15-year-old girl took the stand and under oath said that my client, an 18-year-old male, had attempted to rape her in the Thornwall Park in Carlisle. And she went on to describe in detail how it is that he pursued her through the park and how he touched her and things that he did to her before she was able to escape. And she promptly called the police right after that event, and that's all true. And the police responded, and of course they arrested my client. In order to get out on bail, he had to spend about $1,250. He spent 10 days in jail. He also paid me a large amount of money. And at the preliminary hearing earlier this week, when I kept cross-examining the young woman, I was able to ask her a series of questions about her use of a cell phone and the suggestion that she had actually invited my client to the park and that he was there as her guest, which she denied adamantly. But apparently my strength of my cross-exam and my sheer certitude that the cell phone records would bear that out, although we hadn't gotten the records yet, so it would have been a question, caused the parent of the victim, and I'll use victim in quotes, to decide to wonder why it was that crazy defense attorney was making such a big deal out of it. And why was I questioning her so hard about her text messages? And when the father asked to look at the phone, he noticed apparently that a certain day's worth of text messages had been erased, which would have been about 10 days before the hearing, which would have been the time frame for the alleged sexual assault in the park. The girl was re-interviewed and eventually confessed that she had made up most of the story and, in fact, that there really wasn't a rape per se, I'm told. So then I got a call from the district attorney's office yesterday telling me that they're in the process of getting the charges dropped and getting this guy out of jail, and that they're going to be charging the juvenile with perjury and falsifications. So my answer to the letter from all of society goes like this. If I just assume that people were guilty because somebody took the stand and under oath said that they sexually assaulted them, I guess I wouldn't have a job. But I'm proud to say that a very hard and vigorous cross-examination caused a parent to begin to doubt their child's story, and that when that child was confronted by the parent, notice the police hadn't figured all this out yet, we won. But we didn't win because my client spent 10 days in jail for something he didn't do, and he's out many thousands of dollars to me and the bail bondsman, which he'll never get back. And now he's scarred for life because he can't trust police, he can't trust authority, he can't trust the government. He spent 10 days in jail. You know, if you get a DUI, folks, you're not going to spend 10 days in jail on your first offense DUI. So he did more time than somebody who drinks and drives. He did more time than people get in bar fights. He did more time than all kinds of other people will do. So my answer to the letter from all of society, and I encourage you to go to my Facebook page. It's Carl with a K, Rominger, Rominger. Read the letter. Read the comments that everybody's put on there. I thank my followers for that and the radio audience here. But I wanted to say, it's just the ironies of life that I got that letter on the exact same day that I got the news that that case was going to be dropped because the witness had falsified their testimony. So keep this in mind. She had made a prompt complaint to the police. In other words, whenever this alleged incident was to happen, she literally, from the park, made a phone call after he left, summons the police, reported a sexual assault, gave a written statement, came to court, swore an oath, and like I said, I'll take credit for really pushing the issue with the cell phone, and we can talk more about that later if you guys want to ask how we cross-examine a case like that and what the plan was. I'm glad she came clean when she did because he didn't have to spend more time in jail. He did make bail, actually, because the bail reduced from $50,000 to $15,000 that day. Unfortunately, he shouldn't have posted it. If he'd have just waited a couple more hours, maybe she would have come clean in that time frame, and he could have got out sooner. 540-0580, 540-0580, and that's my diatribe in response to the letter from All of Society, which I know was not really written from All of Society. I'd love to know who the sender was, however, so we could have a little conversation. But again, it came on the same day that I got the news that by representing somebody and not assuming that they were guilty of sexually assaulting the 15-year-old, they didn't have to go to jail any longer than the 10 days they wrongly served. And I would ask All of Society to figure out how to return those 10 days if they possibly could. That would be much appreciated. I got the call board lighting up here. JB, you're on the air with Carl Rominger.
Hello, Carl.
Yep.
This is JB. I'm calling. I keep getting a phone recorded, like computer message.
Okay.
Supposedly from a debt collection agency.
Okay.
And I doubt that it's legit. When they say my name, they get my first name and my middle initial correct, and then the last name is kind of slurred.
Okay.
And then the address is nowhere close to my address.
And it's not a former address.
No, I never had anything close to this address. And
what we would need to do is hunt this number down and figure out what the collection agency is.
Well, it says it's real-time resolutions.
Because they may be violating the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act. You may be able to sue them.
I'm wondering if it's someone, trying to get like me to call back the number and get information, which is why I have not called back the number.
Right. Is it possibly some kind of phishing expedition phishing with a PH, where people try to get by email or false phone calls? If you give us this, I'm sorry, sir, if you just give us your Social Security number and your bank account number, we can verify this debt isn't yours. Yeah, maybe one of those, quite possibly. Report it to law enforcement.
Okay, that's kind of what is it something that I should report to?
Yeah, I would start there and go from there. And if they're a legitimate company, then what we need to do is go after them. I had a friend actually contact me the other day, and he had a parking ticket notice that he gotten out of Philadelphia for his wife from one of these debt collection agencies that buys these old parking tickets up. And it was from like 8 years ago, and she hadn't been in Philly, one of those deals. And we just sent him a letter that said, go to heck. This is false and malicious and leave us alone. And it's been about 6 months now, I guess, and nobody's ever followed up on it. We think they just strike them off the list when somebody actually writes back. So the question here is how do you get a hold of these guys? Because they're robocalling you, right?
Yeah. There's no, there's never anybody that's an actual person. It's always a recorded message. I have gotten one on my answer machine that I kept there. Just
call them back, see what they got to say. If they sound quasi-legitimate, explain to them they got the wrong person, and maybe that'll fix the problem. If they don't seem legitimate or they ask you for any kind of data whatsoever, because obviously they must have your data, right?
Well, they at least have a phone number.
That's what I mean, but I'm saying if it's a legitimate debt collection agency, they're going to know who you are and have some data on it. They may ask for your date of birth for verification purposes because it's financial information. I don't know if I'd give that to them either or not.
No, when I have a very simple name, I will use. This is not my last name, but like Hill.
Right.
And they're saying Hilderino. It's
Yeah.
like,
I don't know what to tell you, but I try calling back just to see if they're legitimate. If they're legitimate, get off their list. If they're not legitimate, report them to law enforcement. I got to go to break.
okay, so
All right,
you
man.
think it's safe to call them back?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get. But listen, you can't kill anybody through the phone line yet. But just don't give out any personal information calling them back. Okay.
Okay.
All right, my friend. 540-0580. See you after the break. Hey, welcome back. 540-0580. Carl Rominger here. Just eating my smoked whitefish and answering your legal questions here on the air. Dennis, what's going on?
This might be water under the bridge, but about 5 years ago, I was partners in an S corporation and bought out my partner. And during the startup, he was a silent partner. And during the startup, I ended up putting $50,000 into the company, kind of loaned it to kind of keep it going. And at the dissolution of the partnership, we couldn't find any documents. It was starting up and, just weren't paying attention. But I just recently opened up an old tax return where the notes are all in there about $50,000 loaned to the company and blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of thinking I got lost out on that, getting that money back on the settlement of the purchase or the sale of the partnership.
So you bought him out.
I bought him out.
But you didn't properly account for that $50,000 because you just forgot about it, or?
Well, it was, hey, there's nothing written down. We can't find it, so therefore it doesn't exist, and here's the value. You get half, he gets half. Boom.
Right.
Buy him out.
And you sign a release?
Well, no, I found in my tax return.
No, I mean, did you sign a release?
No. I signed something saying, here, you're out of it, I'm in it, and here you go. And so I'm thinking it's water under the bridge, too little, too late. But
it's if it's been less than 4 years, blah, 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 maybe. But if the language is clear that you released or gave up any other claims or all claims.
Yeah, I think it is. All right, well, that's what I thought. But I thought I'd just check with you.
Hey, you know what? It stinks to find it late, huh?
Yeah, it does. Hey, thank you very much.
All right, man. Good luck. 540-0580, Carl Rominger here answering your legal questions. Megan, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Carl.
What's going on?
Hey, I was just curious whether it's been a case like you opened with where your client was the other person had perjured themselves and drugged them through, and they have wasted attorney fees and all that good thing. Do they ever have any recourse, whether it's that case or any other case where you are drug into court against the facts and you have to defend yourself? Do you have any recourse as to even sue to try to recomp the fees that you've put out to defend your reputation and the truth?
The answer is probably not. You can sue the person who made the false allegations, but they're usually going to be, worth, like, this is a 15-year-old girl. What does she have?
True.
We'll take her Barbie dolls or something.
Exactly. Cut the heads off of them.
Right. So take that. And you're grounded for 3 weeks. I mean, really, seriously, and I feel bad for the girl because obviously she's got something going on. There's something. And she didn't realize I'm sure at this age, didn't quite understand the nature and gravity of her act.
Sure.
Of course, then again, I could always remind my client that when you're 18, you technically can run around with 15-year-old girls, but 23-year-old girls aren't stable. So anyhow, long story short, you could possibly sue that person. But as for like any other recompensation, it just become criminal restitution. If she was charged, for instance, with perjury, they could order his attorney's fees and bails as a criminal restitution. Of course, he'll get it $25 a month for life. One of those deals.
Yeah. Well, no, I was even wondering, not even in just that specific case, but being that you opened with it, because I'm in a situation of having to defend myself against a very low-life bunch of people, and I have had to invest a lot of money that I don't have for the truth to be brought out, and you're just basically out that money, even if you're vindicated and you're found innocent, you're basically stuck with all the costs involved.
Let me give you a great example. You're charged with a crime. You hire an expert witness. Costs you $2,000. You lose. Not only you're out that $2,000, but you pay the $2,000 for the government's expert witness. They lose. You're out $2,000 for your expert witness. Nobody pays for your expert witness, so you don't have to. Congratulations, you don't have to pay for theirs at that point. So yeah, it stinks to be on the receiving end of criminal charges.
But when you win, you're still screwed.
Yeah. I had a cartoon my mom sent me years ago, and it was a guy standing in front of the bench with a judge, and the judge is saying, I think it was out of the New Yorker, by the way. The judge is saying, given the fact that this is your first acquittal, I'm only going to give you probation. Right? So there you go.
Yeah, our justice system at work, right?
That's right. And, hey, listen, I'm all in favor of it. I swim in it. I'm a big supporter of it. But, boy, can it go terribly wrong. And again, getting that result on the same day that I got that letter just makes me feel better because it reminds me what I know that what all of society should know is that the mere fact that somebody's willing to tell the police you did something, even under circumstances that look highly credible. I mean, the prompt complaint. Can you imagine? I mean, that's one of the things you hear. Well, she's not. Why would she? She called right from the park. I mean, she stayed at the scene and called in courageously. And they're going to say that's all proof. And if we hadn't broken her down and caught her on that, and what happens, I think the father just got nervous because I have a whole line of cross-exam I like to use that basically when I'm pretty sure I can catch somebody on a lie on one part of the story, I try to link link the credibility of that portion to all the other credibility portions.
Well, it's all connected. Yes.
Yeah.
If you can lie about one thing, you can lie about something else.
All right, I got to go. I got to do a live with RJ here.
Hey, you go on right ahead. Love your program.
All right, thanks. 540-0580, Carl Rominger here. RJ, you're at Good Old Pools and Spas.
I am. I'm at their big spa tent sale. It's kind of adjacent to the Capital City Mall. Really, really easy to see where we are because we have a big balloon in the air, and I'm with Wes Humbert. Wes, now, these are Sundance spas, the best in the industry. Tell us about the savings.
They are, and we have factory authorized savings this weekend, which is great because people can save a couple $1,000s on a spa. There's also a great finance program available, too, if people need a little help with financing, which I guess we all do from time to time. So it's definitely a good weekend to save some dollars on a spa if you're in the market.
But this is not a come-on or a gimmick. We're talking thousands of dollars here.
You're right. These are legitimate savings, and Sundance, for those people that aren't familiar, really is the leader in therapy and spas. They're recognized as being the world's best manufacturer. So we definitely have a great spa at a great price.
And how many do you have set up here?
We have about 8 spas set up, but we have 30-some spas in stock that are ready for delivery. We also have plenty more that are available from the factory. They're ready to send out as many as we need. We're getting a great response, and hopefully we'll get a few more people out here.
Sounds good. Well, and by the way, if you're one of the first 20 to come by, you get one of these short, sweet, Common Sense University T-shirts from WHP, and they are great looking. So that's where I am. I'm right across from the Capital City Mall, Carl. Look for the big balloon, and you'll find us at Good Old Pools and Spas, sir.
All right, RJ. I hope people stop out there. Like a nice soak in the spa is always very relaxing.
Yeah, and we're listening to you. I'm loving the show as
well.
I do.
I appreciate that. I
listen every weekend.
How long are you going to be out there again?
I'm here until 3 o'clock. And Wes, what time are you here till? Till 3 o'clock. All right, sounds good.
All right.
But what time are they here selling spas till? Oh, 8 o'clock. All right, so that's the story, Carl. Back to you.
All right, thanks. 540-0580. Corey, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Carl. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem. What'd you do this time?
Funny. Back over Labor Day, the wife and I went camping. And you ever see these Chinese lanterns that are popular right now?
Yeah.
We were setting a few of those off at the campground.
Mm-hmm.
One of them happened to, I'll call it, crash landed in the trees.
Okay.
Anyhow, a park ranger saw it, and they wrote me a citation for it. They said it was improper disposal of lighted materials. The ticket said it was either 30 or 45 days to pay it, which it hasn't come to that point yet. I don't know if I just want to pay it or try to fight it. At the bottom of the ticket, though, I asked the ranger when he was done writing it up where I needed to sign at, and he's like, well, you don't need to sign anywhere. But at the bottom of the ticket, it said there's a spot down there that says where you have to sign and it says that you just acknowledge that you received the ticket, that you're not admitting guilt or anything like that. You're just saying you got the ticket.
Right.
Since he didn't have me sign that, I'm wondering if that's, could I use that as a way out of this, or what do you think about that?
I don't think that's a sufficient defect to do it, because what's going to happen is they're going to eventually reserve you with it.
Okay.
And then you'll have notice of it, and arguably you have notice of it already. So no, unfortunately. Now, the technicals that we can usually win on a ticket is like they charge you under, say, 3301B, and when we get to the hearing, they prove conduct under 3301C, and I go, well, Judge, there's a defect in the ticket. They were limited to the proof under B. Instead, they proved C. Or my all-time favorite is the citation that doesn't exist to, some law where there's just a wrong number in it. And I'm like, well, Judge, I was here to defend 3802, and I think they're trying to prove a case under 3819, but I can't find it in my book here. Sometimes that'll get you out. But you have to raise it at the very end of the proceeding, because in the modern practice, they let everybody liberally correct everything. So right at the beginning of the hearing, a lot of times the officer will go, by the way, there's a typo on line 12, and I really meant 3802, not 3819. And then the judge looks at me and goes, well, I assume you're still prepared to proceed. And I go, of course, because I really knew we were here for 3802, no doubt. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, that's a long way of saying I doubt it would help you. And this is going to go to federal court, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. And actually, we used to have a joke about that, too, which is the magistrate used to sometimes put people in jail in federal court where you had the option to just send money in on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
And so we used to joke, like, in state court, a lot of times it behooves you to take a hearing. In federal court, you better have pretty good factual grounds for your hearing. I don't like it for your sake because these Chinese lanterns have been kind of controversial in the idea of, starting forest fires and things.
Uh-huh. Well,
and you're square in the middle of that one because you landed the burning object in the tree.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't have a problem paying the fine. It was only $70.
Yeah.
I figure that's part of the cost of operation for having a good time. But, my thing was the whole campground was enjoying them. We had families coming over with little kids that were, asking about them and all this kind of good stuff. There was no... I wasn't intending to do anything wrong, and after this happened, we didn't set anything more off, Mm-hmm. So it kind of just got under my skin that the guy just didn't give us a warning or something. He was really kind of a jerk about it. But
yeah, and and unfortunately, sometimes I deal with police officers or other law enforcement agents who are very rigid, and I deal with other ones who are not very rigid, and they both have a point. The rigid guy will tell me, why should I give this guy a break? Because then I have to give everybody a break.
Yeah.
The loose guy will tell me, I gave this guy a break, and now I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble back at the station because they wonder why I'm giving everybody a break.
Yeah.
So, the short answer is you hope he handles it professionally. Unfortunately, it sounds like they kind of got you on the facts. And too bad everybody in the campground didn't want to pitch in a buck, right?
Yeah, really.
All right, my friend, I got to go to break.
All right, thanks.
540-0580, Carl Rominger answering your legal questions. We'll be back soon. Okay, I'm here eating my smoked whiting. RJ, you're going to know about it tomorrow. Probably Monday morning, you'll still be able to smell it in the studio here. Ron, you're on the air.
Carl.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you today?
Good.
Hey, I always enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I got a question for you. I have five kids, but anyway, two of my daughters were out in the Portland, Oregon area, and somebody hit them. They were in a car accident, and a girl hit them, they believe, possibly. She was texting, but they never got a police report. Mm-hmm. However, the one daughter's fine. The other one was treated medically for some time. Cost me a lot of money out of pocket. The driver who hit them, their insurance said they would pay when all the medical treatments are done. And I'm just thinking, boy, if we weren't around, this doesn't sound right to me, Mm-hmm. And my daughter's insurance company paid all that they were going to pay, so that was done. But what if she had no family? How would she get medical treatment, and how would that go with the other insurance company?
Right, she would end up without treatment she needs, or she'd have to get on assistance.
Yeah.
The other insurance company doesn't have to pay until you successfully sue them or settle it, and they won't pay as you go. Be careful, too, that they don't lowball you, because you may be entitled to pain and suffering and other damages as well on behalf of your daughter. So my recommendation would be to see a lawyer, someone like myself. What we need to do is find you local counsel out there and work with them to get a maximum return.
I was intending to call your office, but when I heard your show on this morning when I'm on the way to my mother's house, I thought, let me see if I can call. And so I can start by seeing you.
Yeah.
She is actually gathering and supposed to send me all the documents, medical copies of all the medical bills and everything.
Where does she live out that way, or?
She lives in Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
The one that was getting all the treatment. The other one is in Westchester, but she doesn't have any other problems anymore. But yeah, that one is out there, and that's why I wasn't sure if you guys could help. But you can get counsel out.
Yeah, we would find a local counsel out there to assist us.
Okay.
And the reason is that way you have somebody on this front keeping tabs on everything, but you get somebody who's experienced with the law out there, but who's reputable, because we have ways to find personal injury attorneys who are considered. How would I say it? You usually go through these state associations, and that way somebody who's actively engaged in the practice as opposed to somebody who just claims to be.
So I can start by next week calling your firm.
We'll help you out.
Okay, yeah, my son dealt with you one time, and I was happy. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I hope I got 5 kids. I hope all the others. We don't need your services.
Well, maybe one of them will want to buy you a house someday or adopt a kid or something. We can help with those things too.
All righty, I'll be giving your office a call sometime.
All right. Hey, take care.
Thank you.
That's always interesting when you do get like families. It's always fun to, kind of stay up to date on whoever he's up to. And I have some families I've represented where I think I've represented every son, every daughter, every mother, every father, every brother. And then I know everybody who's involved. Always very interesting. Blake, you're on the air with Carl Rominger. Hey, Blake.
Hello? Hey, Carl. I talked to you before. I want to make sure that this is going to go all out on the air. I'm not going to swear or anything. I want everything out there. I sent you an email the other week about I had a DUI back in December of last year, December 2nd, and I quit drinking then December the 20th after that, and I lost my license because I was a truck driver, and I'm getting screwed over on things. I've been following everything. I went to their classes, and now they're saying I need to go to other things, and they're billing me for them and stuff, and I don't have the money. All I'm getting is unemployment, and I wanted to find out what my rights are and stuff. And with the ACLU, the lawyer that I had there, he was a hack. That's the only thing I ever had in my life other than a couple speeding tickets from driving trucks since I'm 45 years old. Right. And I want to make it known out there in the air. My name's Blake William Coons. I have no problem with it. I want it known out there and stuff, and I want to see about what my rights are. And
well, if you were convicted of the DUI, you lose your CDL for a year, right?
Yeah, that's what they ended up, man. But the lawyer there that I had paid him $1,200. He didn't try to plead it down or anything to keep my license or anything. Did I have any rights there? And I want to find out with the ACLU if I can do anything. And with now they're saying I sit in these counseling things, which is a joke since I quit drinking now for 9 months, was the 20th of this month, and I haven't touched anything since. I have no desire to, and they haven't taken any blood or anything to prove anything, and on that to see that I have, and I want to go hunting and stuff. I have license to carry. I still have my license. They didn't revoke them, and I have a friend that's a convicted felon that he owns a muzzle loader. Can I buy a muzzle loader and go hunting? I'm done playing games with them. I want to find out what my rights are.
Well, Blake, it sounds like I would need to sit down with you off the air and go over all this because it sounds a little complicated. What I mean by that is there's some stuff I'd want to ask you that we wouldn't talk about on the air.
I want it out there. It's the only thing I've ever done in my life. That's the only thing. I'm 45 years old.
No, I understand that. But for confidentiality purposes, I would want to talk to you off the air.
Well, I sent you a thing on your computer, and I didn't hear anything back. And I wanted to find out what's what because I'm tired of it here. I think I'm being discriminated against when there's people out there. And like I said, my buddy's an ex-felon. He went into Dick's and bought a muzzle loader, didn't have to show any ID or anything. But that's a gun. That can kill me as dead as my guns to go hunting with.
Are you on probation right now? Is that why you can't have a gun?
Yeah, they have me on probation, but they're sending me now to counseling and stuff. Even though I quit drinking, I never did drugs in my life. I'm 45 years old and never did drugs in my life. That's the only thing I did. It was high. My blood alcohol level was the highest. It was like 0.3 something,
and that's the issue. I mean, with a guy with a 0.3, and then you just saying you're not drinking, I think they want to be sure.
Well, they never asked to take blood or anything, and I've been telling them since then. I haven't drank since then, and nobody's done anything since then, but they're saying you need to do this, you need to do that, and, well, that's the only thing I've ever done. It isn't like I've been there 3, 4, 5 times before on things before other than speeding tickets, and I think that's a two-way street. I wanted to find out what's what and what my rights are here, because I think that's discrimination.
Well, I'm not sure it's an illicit form of discrimination, and that's what you would have to have. You can discriminate. It just can't be illegal discrimination.
And then the lawyer I hired originally, he didn't even try to plead it down. The only thing I ever had in my life. That's the only time I've ever been in front of a judge in my life.
Yeah, well, if you got ARD, then that is a plead down. So
no, to keep my license, could have pleaded it down to something.
Oh yeah, to another charge. Yeah, and that's completely with the discretion of the district attorney.
As far as I'm concerned, he stole $1,200 from me.
Blake, I got you. I feel you. I'm going to let you go because I know we were just going to debate this back and forth. Long and short of it, though, is you got ARD, guy with CDL, that's always a problem. Be happy to talk to you off the air just to go over a few more things and see. Joyce, you're on the air with Carl Rahman.
Oh, hi. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, thank you. I've been wanting to talk to a lawyer for 6 weeks since my dog died. I treated her. She was 10 years old. She had fleas. I treated her with Frontline, and 2 days later with Capstar, which is supposedly compatible by everything that I've read about them. And she got gravely ill, and I took her to the vet 4 days later, and the vet, I told him exactly what I treated her with, and he didn't see any connection. And 2 days of testing and $900 later, he still couldn't tell me what was wrong with her. And she ended up dying about within 2 weeks of treating her. And she became completely jaundiced, yellow from the tips of her ears to the end of her tail, and I was so angry. I wanted to sue somebody. I wanted to sue the chemical company. I wanted to sue the lawyer for not treating her or diagnosing her properly. Is there anything that I can do at this point?
Well, you may have a breach of contract against the vet. We have to keep in mind that a dog is just a dog, right? It's not a car. I mean, it's not a child. So under the law, it doesn't have the same damages. It's not like emotional pain and suffering, things like that. So it's the value of the dog and or the value of the treatment. So your recourse is very limited.
Okay.
Number two, you got to prove causation. So while it's very suspicious that something you gave the dog probably did this, right?
Yes.
How do you prove it?
Right. I can't prove it. But a perfectly healthy dog that died 2 weeks after, and she was completely sick, for the whole entire time. I really wanted to sue one of the chemical companies, but I don't know how to take on a chemical company. And
of course, one of them's going to say, hey, it wasn't our product. And the other one's going to go, it might have been the other guy, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Probably no recourse. This is just one of those things that happens. Although you might want to do some research on the internet just to see if other people have had similar problems when they combine these two products.
Yeah, I have researched already, and I have heard of dogs dying from at least Frontline and cats dying. But so what about the veterinarians that after $900 couldn't tell me what was wrong with her.
Well, he may not have been able to. You know, that's the issue. If he's trying to do diagnostics, and he can't determine the course, you know, the question would be, would another vet come in and say, here's what he should have done and would have figured it out? But until we know what's wrong with the dog, there's no way to know if he did anything right or wrong, right?
Okay, so
you're going to have to vent your anger somewhere else besides the lawsuit, and I hate to say it any other way than that.
okay, that's fine. I can do that. I just wasn't sure if there was anything I could do. So
understand, and it probably it's a big loss to lose an animal like that.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend whose horse was injured recently, and I think she was going to go into shock.
Yeah.
Just over an injury.
Well, this vet, after, the 2 days of the tests and $900 later, and he said, well, I can't really be sure. And I said, well, if she was poisoned by Frontline and Capstar, what would you have done? And he said, well, I probably would have hooked her up to IVs and flushed her out. And so I'm thinking, well, why didn't you listen to me and do that in the first place?
Right.
And I told him, I feel like I got ripped off here. And he assured me I didn't, but...
I know. Well, my dear, I got to go to break. Sorry about your dog.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back. Carl Rominger here answering your legal questions, 540-0580. R.J. Harris, you're out there adjacent to the Capital City Mall. What's going on?
I am. I'm at Goodall Pools and Spa's big Sundance Spa tent event, and we have an incredible amount of Sundance spas here. Now, look, Sundance is really the Cadillac, Lexus, Mercedes of spas, but they are more affordable than ever, and this is not hype or gimmick or any of that. These spas are at thousands off at this event. So if you've been thinking about soaking away your stress and relaxing in a spa, this is the time to do it because you're going to save a lot of money, thousands of dollars, that's plural, thousands of dollars, and not only that, they have some special financing available for this event, too. So they'll help you get into that spa comfortably. And I got to tell you got to take a look at all the accessories they have in terms of, I should say, options that the spas will do for you. And if you come over, you'll meet Bob Goodall and his brand-new granddaughter, Aubrey. So come on by and say hi. They're here until 8 o'clock tonight. I'm here till 3, and we have some Common Sense University T-shirts available. Just look for the big Goodall balloon. It is floating up right across in the Capital City Mall. And I'm R.J. Harris on the Carl Rominger Show on WHB 580.
Thanks, R.J. I just envision you neck deep in the water with two beautiful women beside you for some reason. I don't know why.
Just two, Carl? Is that it?
Well, I know. I've seen usually you come with 10 to 12.
I do have a harem. You've seen the evidence on Facebook.
I have. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, well, that would be light for you. That's right.
You know what? Bring a bottle of Pinot over at 3 and,
I gotcha.
All right, buddy. I'll see you.
540-0580. Yes, he does travel with a harem. It's unbelievable. Joe, you're on the air.
Hello, Carl?
Yes.
I live just down the street from your office, about 8 miles.
Okay.
The state of Pennsylvania resurfaced the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, there was a little ridge, which I never knew what it was, coming down the west side of the highway. They did not replace it. Now I know why that was there. It kept the water from running through my property. The water runs so bad and has gotten so bad over the years that I have ruts in my property now. My driveway is mostly now in my backyard. My basement floods. I am a former bus driver. One of my passengers works for DOT. She said, "You got a case. What do you think?"
Yeah, you may.
I have had them here, and they won't do anything about it.
Pennsylvania is the water's the common enemy. And so if you simply pave something or do something in a way that just causes the water to shunt off, that alone is not going to be enough. Interestingly, though, the removal of a remedial measure in and of itself is a separate question, right?
And they admit it was there.
Right, and so that's interesting. I think you have a case. I can't guarantee it's a great case yet. I'd have to do some research on it, but it might be worth pursuing and either compel them to put some remediation in or pay damages.
Okay.
We've considered a kind of a taking, maybe, if it's making your land unusable.
It's not unusable, but it's getting to the point that I'm twisting my ankle on the ruts.
Right.
I have the beginning of the Grand Canyon.
What's interesting? That's interesting. Well, you might want to have a lawyer look into it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. 540-0580. Hans, you're on the air.
Yes. Hi, Carl. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
I own 2 apartment houses in Lower Paxton Township, and my tenants have been complaining about stray cats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get rid of the cats. I have contacted the Humane Society with no success. I have contacted Lower Paxton Township. I've contacted the Lower Paxton Township Police. I tried to contact the Games Commission. I've even contacted a pest control operator. Nobody seems to be able to help me.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to do, but I've been told, one person tells me it's legal, one person says it's not. I would like to trap these cats, relocate them, and release them. Can I do that legally in Pennsylvania?
My inclination is no. My inclination is no. And I don't know what the answer is. I guess I know a guy who had problems with some feral cats and took matters into his own hands and then decided to ask me about the legality of it. And his method was not a catch and release method.
Yeah.
And my determination was I can't find anywhere in the statutes where he was privileged to kill a cat.
I honestly, I don't want to harm the
right,
cat.
but
I have no intention.
Once you take them into your custody, I'm sure there's going to be an argument that you're violating some cruelty law by releasing them back into the wild again. Or if you're releasing them, in the promised land, as R.J. Harris likes to call the game lands for his rabbits.
Yeah.
That's probably a separate issue with the Game Commission.
I had a meeting with the township
should
manager.
the dog/cat catcher be taking care of them?
I contacted a pest control operator,
mm-hmm.
and they catch all kinds of raccoons and stuff like that. And he says, we don't do anything with cats and dogs. And he said, for cats and dogs, you have to contact the Dauphin County Animal Control. And he gave me a phone number, so I called the phone number, and the answer was, hello, Humane Society, right back again. And the Humane Society won't do anything. They won't help me whatsoever.
Hans, I'm going to have to think about this one for a while, but stay tuned.
Okay.
All right, 540-0580. Carl Rominger here, hanging out at the studios, answering your legal questions. Whatever you guys want to know, go to romingerlaw.com, ROMINGER law.com, or the office number 241-6070, office number 717-241-6070. I'll see you in about 6 minutes.